The Enlightenment, sometimes classified as the Age of Reason, was a time when man began to use his reason to discover the world, forgetting the superstition and fear of the medieval world. At the start of the 18th century, the robust and grand style of King Louis XIV began to diminish, and the change into the style of emphasized grace and gentle action became enlightened. The architecture of the Enlightenment was inspired by Louis XIV's Versailles. The Austrian Emperor, the Swedish King and German princes and prince-bishops, Italian princes and the Russian Tsar all began to build impressive palaces. The Baroque Rococo architectural style of 18th century, which was used in palaces and church, followed Italian Baroque architecture, modified by German and Austrian sculpture architects, rather classical French, showing the transition from Baroque to the Rococo style. Balthasar Neumann, one of the greatest architects of 18th century architecture, created two masterpieces: the Pilgrimage Church of the Viersenheiligen in southern Germany, and the Bishop's Palace, which was the residential palace of the Scone-born Prince Bishop of Wurzburg. In both buildings, the secular spiritual images became interchangeable with lavish fanciful ornament and light brown colors, elaborated in rich detail. The art of the Enlightenment shows contrast to the Baroque genre, the art of popes and kings, which stressed majesty, power, and movement. By 1730, the new style of Rococo began to affect decoration and architecture. It rejected strict geometrical patterns, followed the wandering lines of natural objects, and interlaced designs colored in gold, delicate contours, and graceful curves. The style was highly secular, with light, charming images focusing on the pursuit of pleasure, happiness, and love. Rococo styles became evident in works of Anton Watteau, as he portrayed the views of aristocratic life as refined, sensual, civilized people in elegant dress. His works reflected a world of upper-class pleasure and joy. Neoclassical style continued to be popular, and in the late 18th century, the style prospered in France. Neoclassical artists wanted to recapture the dignity and simplicity of classical Greek and Roman styles. The recent excavations of Herculaneum and Pompeii are also said to be what inspired the continuation of the style. Jacques-Louis David shows classical elements in his work. In The Oath of Horatius, he depicts a scene from Roman history of three Horatius brothers swearing an oath to their father, promising that they will sacrifice themselves for their country. Moral seriousness and emphasis of honor and patriotism in the portrait made him very popular during the French Revolution. Alike art, music was transforming from Baroque into new styles. Two men that perfected the era of Baroque music were Johann Sebastian Bach and Georg Friedrich Handel. Bach states that his task in life was to make well-ordered music in the honor of God. This reveals that his songs are deeply religious, something that Baroque style embodied. He is credited for his composition of the famous pieces Mass in B minor and St. Matthew's Passion. Handel, on the other hand, composed very secular music. It is ironic that although he wrote almost 140 secular operas and pieces, he is most commonly known for his religious music, Messiah. Princes, archbishops, and bishops of Italy and Germany provided patronage in their own court, which allowed artists of the time to become the musical leaders of Europe. In 1750, a new musical period began, the Classical era. In this time period, society saw the rise of opera, oratorio, which is the performance of an orchestra, a choir, and soloists, sonatas, which underwent a change in usage, coming to mean a chamber music genre for either a solo instrument or solo melody instrument with piano concerto, and symphonies, which are extended classical music compositions scored almost always for an orchestra. Italians were the first to develop these classical genres, but the Germans soon followed in their footsteps. However, not long after did the musical center shift from Italy and Germany to the Austrian Empire due to the rise of Franz Joseph Haydn and Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Haydn composed almost 104 symphonies, along with string quartets, concerti, songs, oratorios, and masses. At the time, princely private patrons were more popular in his society, but during his frequent visits to England, he was introduced to public concerts, inducing him to write his two great oratorios, The Creation and The Seasons, both dedicated to the common people. It is argued and believed that Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was the greatest composer known in person or by reputation, composing with such ease of melody, blend of grace, precision, and emotion. Being a child prodigy, he wrote his first symphony at age 9 and his first opera at 10. Ein klein nach Musik, being one of his most famous songs, is recognizable to almost all from the very first bar. An aspect of the arts that became popular in the Enlightenment was operas. These spectacles allowed artists to master several artistic forms, such as drama, music, and set design. In 1712, Handel moved to England from Germany and spent most of his life running an opera company. Another composer taking part in the displays of operas was the great Mozart. He took Italian comedic opera to a new level with The Marriage of Figaro, which was based on a Parisian play in which a valet outwits and outsings his noble employers, and Don Giovanni, a black comedy about the havoc Don Giovanni wrought on earth before he descended into hell. These two operas are two of the world's best. The period of the Enlightenment was a time when secular intellectuals believed that the time of Christianity had come and gone. They believed religion would be replaced by scientific, social, and economic progress, and progress was the logical outcome of the forces of reason. The progress of art and music throughout the time period represented just that, the movement of religious subject to secular portrayals. The discovery of new style and performance showed that society could be optimistic for progress in improving humanity to a more gracious and fearless society.